They passed it. The new banking rule goes into effect tonight. Get out. At 5 p.m. today, the banks closed their doors and a new rule quietly went live, one that changes everything. By Monday morning, your money won't really be yours anymore. And here's the kicker. They did it on a Friday for a reason, so you wouldn't notice until it's already too late. $500 withdrawal limit, 7 days to access your own money. And if you try to move your funds into gold, crypto, or even silver, they'll flag you, freeze your account for 30 days. This isn't speculation. This is law. Greece, Cyprus, Lebanon. It started exactly like this, and now it's here. The question isn't if this will affect you. The real question is, do you have just 48 hours left? Stay with me. The clock struck 5 p.m. today. Across America, bank doors were locked, employees went home, and the financial system entered its weekend hibernation. But something was different this time. Behind the silence, a rule went live. They call it a liquidity preservation directive. Sounds boring, right? That's exactly the point. It's designed to slip under the radar, but here's what it really means. Starting Monday, your access to your own money is restricted. No warning, no debate. What's the reason they gave for this? Stability? Preventing panic, protecting the system. But here's the truth. Banks don't actually keep all of your money in their vaults. They operate on fractional reserve banking. They only hold a fraction, usually around 10%, and loan out the rest. This works until people start asking for their money back all at once. So why now? What do they know that they're not telling us? Why did they choose a Friday to put this in place? And most importantly, what's coming next? Stay tuned, because the real story is just getting started. Here's the kicker. This new rule isn't just a precaution. It's a direct response to something deeper. The truth is, banks are showing signs of stress, not the kind that makes headlines, but the kind that only insiders know about. Look at the financial reports, the derivative exposure. They're all warning signs. And this rule, it's a fix for a broken system. The system can't handle mass withdrawals, not anymore. When you try to pull more than $500 from an ATM on Monday, it'll likely be declined. Not because you don't have the money, but because they've set a limit, a ceiling. And the same goes if you walk into a bank and ask for $5,000, you won't leave with cash. You'll leave with a form to request it, and then wait 7 days. Wait 7 days to access money that's rightfully yours. Here's what's missing. This isn't just about cash. It's about control. Control over your money. And the question is, why is that control being tightened now? What's coming that makes this restriction necessary? Now let's talk about how fast this is escalating. What we're seeing is just the beginning. Imagine this. A small $500 ATM limit starts to feel like an inconvenience. But then that inconvenience grows. What starts as a 7-day wait to access your funds could quickly turn into something much worse. This isn't the first time this has happened. Think back to previous financial crises, Greece in 2015, Cyprus in 2013, and Lebanon just a few years ago. All of these countries had small restrictions, slowly tightening over time, until one day their banking systems froze completely. People couldn't access their money. And by then, it was too late. Now it's happening here. And here's the chilling part. This isn't just about protecting stability anymore. It's about creating a system where your money is no longer in your control. It's about rationing access to your own wealth. And once that's in place, where does it stop? How much tighter will the restrictions get? But here's the part most people aren't seeing. While they were busy announcing these restrictions, something even more concerning slipped under the radar. This new rule isn't just about limits on cash. It's about surveillance. If you try to move your money out of the traditional banking system into gold, crypto, or even silver, they'll flag you. Yes, you heard that right. Move your funds into something outside the system and your account can be frozen for 30 days. No proof of illegal activity, no justification, just the fact that you're trying to protect your wealth by moving it into something they don't control. This isn't about security or preventing crime. It's about creating a barrier. They're not stopping criminals. They're stopping you from making an exit, and they're doing it quietly. While you're thinking about your weekend plans, they're making sure the exits are locked down before you even know it. This isn't just an inconvenience. This is control, and it's escalating quickly. Here's where things get even more intense. It's not just one restriction. It's a series of moves all happening at once. First, they cap withdrawals, then they freeze accounts for moving money to alternatives. And now we're seeing something bigger: coordinated action across multiple countries. In the same week this rule went live in the US, similar restrictions were quietly rolled out in the UK and Australia. Same timing, same language, same Friday evening rollout. This wasn't a coincidence. This is coordinated preparation. What happens when three major economies start synchronizing their financial policies like this? It's not about national policy anymore. It's about something much larger. And the bigger question, what are they preparing for? If these measures are already happening now, how much worse will it get when the next financial shock hits? And here's the kicker: what happens if this continues? Now let's talk about the real-world consequences of all this. The changes happening in the banking system aren't just affecting corporations or financial institutions, they're hitting everyday people. People like you. Imagine being in a small business where cash flow is king. A restaurant needs to pay suppliers daily, a construction company has to cover payroll every week, and retail stores need to restock constantly. Now picture this: your bank account frozen for 30 days. Your money is stuck, and your business is grinding to a halt. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. For small businesses, it's a death sentence. And if this is happening to businesses, what do you think will happen to regular consumers? Rent is due, bills are due, life goes on, but now your access to money has been severely restricted. If this feels familiar to you, if you've ever had to scramble for cash in a crisis, or if you see the parallels here, drop a comment below, because this is a reality that's coming faster than most people realize. Let's step back for a moment. Beyond the outrage, beyond the immediate panic, there's a larger system at play here. Why are these drastic measures being put in place? It's all about leverage, control, and the spectacle of security. But let's talk about what's really going on behind the scenes. Banks and financial institutions aren't reacting to one single crisis. They're preparing for something much bigger. The way they've structured this, it's a slow squeeze. They create friction at every step. They make it harder to access cash, harder to move money into alternative assets, and harder to escape their system. And why? Because they know what's coming next: the push for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. You've probably heard about them, but here's the truth. CBDCs will be the final stage of total financial control. Unlike physical cash, digital currencies can be tracked, controlled, and manipulated by the institutions that issue them. So what do? They make everything else: cash, physical assets, and alternative currencies unappealing, inconvenient, even impossible. They're slowly but surely making digital currencies the only viable option. This isn't just about protecting your money. It's about making sure you have no choice but to adopt a digital alternative. So where does all of this lead? Right now, we're at a crossroads. There are two paths we could follow. On one hand, we could continue down this road of ever-tightening restrictions, more limits on withdrawals, more surveillance, a financial system that makes it harder for you to move your own money. On the other hand, there's the possibility of a sudden shift, a crisis that forces even tighter control, something that makes these measures look like child's play. And when that happens, the shift towards CBDCs could happen faster than anyone expects. What we're seeing now may only be the beginning. But here's the real question: what happens if this escalates? What if by next week these restrictions become permanent? What if by next month accessing your own money becomes a privilege rather than a right? What's coming next is unclear, but one thing is certain: the momentum is already building. Here's the thing: we're at a critical moment. The rule is live. The restrictions are in place, and the weekend is here. By Monday morning, the landscape will have already shifted. Those who prepared will be ahead, while others will be left scrambling. But the real question remains: what happens when the system finally locks down, when the freeze becomes permanent? The window for action is closing fast. The only way to survive this is by acting now, before the exits are sealed for good. We've seen this pattern play out time and time again in countries around the world: Greece, Cyprus, Lebanon, Argentina, and now it's here. The difference is this time, the rules are already in place. And the next move? It's already being written. If you're paying attention, you know what comes next. But here's the thing: it's not too late. There's still time to prepare, still time to move your money, diversify your assets, and build the resilience you'll need when the real crisis hits. Stay informed, stay prepared, hit that subscribe button, because we'll be watching this closely and we'll be ready for whatever comes next.